In this presentation, we will talk about personal responsibility. This quote is extremely important in understanding the concept of accountability. When you're talking about the way that you react to a situation or your response, it really is a tell about your perception of accountability. So whether you blame other people or whether you make excuses or whether you take responsibility for the situation and the choice, that really tells a lot about the way that you perceive accountability. The only way that you're really going to control the different aspects of your life is by owning your choices. And that means taking responsibility for both the good and the bad, the successes and the failures. This is something called the accountability ladder. And if you look at the bottom portion of it, you'll see it explains elements that are more victim mentality or powerless perceptions. So when you're thinking about accountability, you may wait and hope for the best because you're not taking action. You might make excuses so that you do not have to have responsibility for the situation. You'll blame others for the actual outcome and situation, or you just might be unaware or claim that you were unaware. I didn't know the deadline, I didn't understand the directions, etc. So each one of those is a very victim mentality where a person is not taking personal responsibility for the situation or choices that he or she has made. Whereas at the top, when you're looking at responsibility and more powerful perceptions, that's when somebody is being very realistic about a situation. They take responsibility and they own the situation. They own the decisions that were made. They own the outcomes of the circumstances. If it didn't come out the way that they wanted, they look for solutions. They try to look at options and alternatives, and they try to fix the situation. They don't just let it happen again over and over or happen without making any changes to the plan. So they're very creator minded in that they have accountability and they have a plan. They see a situation, they acknowledge it, they own it, they find a solution, and they fix it so if they encounter it again, they'll do it successfully. When we talk about victims and creators, basically what happens is a stimulus occurs, some situation, a circumstance, and a person is faced with a choice. If they go with the victim mentality, then what they're doing is looking at it from a point of view or perspective where they do not feel that the responsibility is theirs. They'll blame other people, they'll complain, they'll make excuses, and they tend to repeat the behavior and, unfortunately, don't reach their goals. But when you start looking at things from a creator perspective, they actually have that accountability and plan. They take control. They make choices based on fact, information, experience. They look for solutions. They look for improvements. They take action. They take risks, they try new things, and they tend to reach their goals because they're flexible and adaptable. Some of this accountability comes into the idea and process of learning, and you have to think about the relevance and meaning of the things you're encountering in your classes and how they're personally meaningful to you. You not only are responsible for your own learning, which means the studying part of it, understanding and assessing whether you understand material and whether you remember information, but you also have to realize that you might encounter details and information that you might not think are important or interesting, but they are still required. So you can't look at it like I'm taking a class or I'm doing this assignment and it's just a waste of time. You want to come with the approach of, what can I get out of this? I may not necessarily be interested in this, or I might not know why I'm doing this now, but why do I think I'm being asked to learn this? Is there any reason that what I'm learning might be helpful or useful? You might not see it right here, right now, but you might see it in the future. Also, you want to think about especially particular courses that you might say, why is this a part of my degree program? How is this going to help me in my future career? There's going to be something in every class that you take that you have as a takeaway. So think about the different kinds of skills you might be learning. It might not be as obvious as, oh, I'm taking an art appreciation class and I'm going to be a physicist. Why do I care about the different artists and different periods of art that occurred throughout history? Maybe you're looking at these different works of art to improve your critical thinking and to examine things and analyze things in detail. It isn't always the face value. Again, you want to think about being responsible for your own learning. You have to make that information relevant to you and use that context in ways that you will find important and useful. They aren't always about the discipline, like I mentioned. There will be peripheral skills that you're being taught or exposed to so that you will be able to use them not only in other classes, but in your personal life and in your career as well. You also might be asked to use multiple skills to demonstrate a synthesis of ideas. So, for example, a lot of students balk at the idea of doing a group project, but there's a number of different skills that are being promoted by doing group work. It could be anything from interpersonal skills to organizational skills to communication. So you want to really think about not only who gets credit for your success, but who gets credit for your failure. You also want to consider why there's a difference. Why would there be a different level in accountability for success or failure if you're the one putting the effort in or not putting the effort in? Again, you might have to re-examine your perception of accountability. So you not only need to look at the outcome of the situation, but how much effort did you put in? Do you think that you actually have support? And how does that all tie into your personal responsibility? Did you ask for help? Do you need to put more effort in, or do you need to put in a different kind of effort to get a better result? When we talk about creators, again, they take accountability and they have a plan. They find that solution or try to fix the problem. They use language that shows that accountability and plan. They also use resources and tools available to them, and they ask questions and get clarification. They recognize that they have weaknesses, but they take steps to work on them and to improve upon them. Victims, however, always try to attribute this outcome or the situation to something else. It's not their fault. They find excuses. They blame anything, the environment, the situation, other people, anything but themselves for situations and outcomes. And they use language that reflects that, such as trying to justify a situation or making apologies or being defensive. They also very pessimistically get stuck in their weaknesses. Oh, see, I knew I would never be good in math. That's why I failed this test. What I want to leave you with is thinking about this particular quote. This is a gentleman who ran a major publishing house and is an author himself. And I think it rings true in the bigger sense of success. Success on any major scale requires you to accept responsibility. In the final analysis, the only one quality that all successful people have is the ability to take on responsibility. You'll see this theme weave throughout the semester, so contemplate it as we talk about other concepts throughout.